This is what you're about to hear is something really to get your head around, that they want to film on the Isle of Wight. An amazing story, hopefully an amazing new film. I have in the studio with me both the producer and writer and director. You two gentlemen, you're going to do everything, aren't you? Good morning. Good morning. So here in the studio, I've got Philip Moore and Peter Hepplthwaite, and then hopefully, very shortly, we're going to have Melvyn Hayes as well, who's in our studio on the Isle of Wight, lead actor, amazing man, who's all part of this as well.
Absolutely, yeah, real stalwart.
How did the three of you get together, and how did this come about?
Well, because of this man, really. Mr. Philip Lee Moore, he sort of tracked us down and pursued us.
Yeah. I mean, I started putting the feelers out. I wrote the script. It all came together very quickly, actually. I only wrote this literally 2 months ago, and we started to put it out there. And for me, Melvyn Hayes was the perfect person to play the role of Myrtle, age-wise, and for what he'd done before. And I think a lot of people forget that Melvyn started off his career as a serious actor. The comedy came later, and I think this is returning him to his roots almost, on the fact that it's a very serious role. It's not Gloria.
No, we're going to explain exactly what this is about. But Peter, do you want to slip on your headphones?
Yes.
Because Melvyn, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Good morning. It's lovely to have you on the show this morning. Now, so you know, Melvyn, I've got Philip and Peter in front of me, and
Good morning, Melvyn.
Good morning.
Morning, Melvyn.
I didn't know whether the three of you just wanted a quick catch up before we sort of cracked on with anything else.
I can't believe that you say this is the exact part for me, playing an 86-year-old woman who's dying of Alzheimer's. But no, it's a challenge. The thing is that it's not just putting on ladies' clothes or wearing makeup. Is to get inside the brain of a woman, which I've tried all my life, and it's impossible.
Well, I've been trying to describe the plot of the film, the story, as something that will tackle Alzheimer's, dementia, sexuality, social attitudes and death. And all of those topics together sounds just fairly fantastical as to how you can all wrap them together. Melvyn, would you like to give the story of what the actual story of the film is?
Well, basically, I play a lady who was a man who is facing life with Alzheimer's, and the background of using the Isle of Wight is amazing because it's got so many locations, and I'm sure that Philip will tell you that when we were looking for a newsagent shop to film in, if it was on the mainland, they'd have said, yes, you can have it, cost you 10 grand for the day. This guy said, yeah, you can have it on one condition, and that's when you finish, will you put the key through the letterbox?
and that is true. I mean, literally, the guy said to me, he said, oh, just lock up the shop afterwards. He said, stick the keys through the letterbox.
Very, very different attitudes.
And Melvyn showed me some amazing areas on the Isle of Wight. And I think, again, for me, we were looking at other locations that were going to be very costly, and the Isle of Wight actually gives you an awful lot of availability on locations, little alleyways, passageways, just perfect locations, aren't they, for filming,
absolutely.
Peter?
Yeah. They complement the story.
Yes.
There's something that Melvyn will be getting to now, I would imagine, is this conflict between the son looking after what he thinks is his mum.
So the bare bones of this story, so the nuts and bolts of it.
Mm-hmm. You've got the character Tim, and that's Myrtle's son, and Tim is suffering with his he's in conflict with his sexuality, always has been, from a young child. So we see a scene in the beginning where he's dressed up in his sister's clothes as a 10-year-old, and then that goes on to later in life. So he's got this conflict of he's unsure of his sexuality. his mother has been very hard on him all his life, because she comes from an era when it wasn't so cool to be gay, and it wasn't so common for people to know somebody who was gay. And so she's sort of almost comes across as a little bit homophobic on the fact that she's hard on him. And what happens is he then finds himself, as his mother gets dementia, looking after somebody that actually he doesn't really like very much. We have Jerry Anderson playing the role of Tim, and Jerry's always sort of done recently these hard man roles. He's been a lot different. So this is a real sort of challenge for him, and we've actually written the script so that his mother had the sex change operation when he was a child, and he's unaware of it.
So he has no idea. Does the audience know this, or do they come to it?
They have no idea at that point. So effectively,
and this is Melvyn's character.
This is Melvyn's character. Yes.
So he's been brought up by what he thinks is his mother, and he thinks that his mother left when he was younger, and actually it's his father. And the reason why his mother left is because his father had a sex change.
And I think one of the main things is now we're actually in at a time where this is the first time we're going to get this. You know, there's a lot of transgenders out there now, and transgender and Alzheimer's it's unknown territory, really, because I've been a carer. You know, I've done it in the past. I know how people's mood swings change and everything, and again, this is something that. For me, having Melvyn, it's just an honour for us, isn't it?
You've written this from passion, though, and from a story that...
yes.
It's an actual story. Myrtle is effectively based on a true character.
On a true character, yes.
I mean, and Melvyn, you've got this part, this incredibly complex...
Just a bit.
Yes.
I always thought when I was young that women were effeminate men, but they're not. They are a race apart. I love them dearly. I mean, I've got 5 daughters, and they all come from another planet.
Don't they all?
They do. But I'm very lucky in as much as our director, Peter, not only is he a director, he's an actor, which means he understands, because you can work with some directors and they have their own ideas, etc., etc., but being an actor as well as a director, you know what the actor's going through, etc. I mean, I spent a few days with our writer, Philip, and we went around all the charity shops on the island trying to get ladies' clothes. And I was standing in one shop holding a bra up to myself, and this woman said, "Yes, I think it suits you very much." So it's a challenge. I think all my life I started when I was 15. I've been an actor for 68 years, and I think this is the biggest challenge that I'll ever face as an actor, because like I say, it's not just putting on the makeup, the lashes. It is not Gloria. Gloria was in a sitcom many years ago, and this is a real lady. And I'm relying on my wife to help me very much.
Yeah, Melvyn, I mean, as you say, this is possibly the most challenging role you have ever taken on. Can I ask why? What drew you to it? Why did you want to do it?
I'm 83 years of age, and I haven't going to get that many more chances to play something out of the box sort of thing. Over the years, as an actor, you play a lot of parts because your children want to eat. You have to pay things like the rent and the mortgage and petrol, etc. But then there is a time when you think, no, I just want to do parts now that's something that is happy for me. Thank God, I'm very lucky to still be working very much at my age, I suppose. And if you're watching television nowadays, or the films, I mean, you go to such extremes with plots. I mean, I sat last night for the first time and watched Pulp Fiction, right?
Oh, wow.
I watched it last night, and I thought, if they can get away with that 25 years ago, we've got every chance in the world to do this. I mean, and the facets are. I don't think Philip, our writer, producer, co-director, realises what a magnificent script he's got. It's very strong. There is humour in it. There is humour, but it's the. I mean, my brother Raymond died of Alzheimer's. So for 6 or 7 years, I watched this personality just change from being a Fleet Street journalist to suddenly somebody who didn't even know me. And it's a hell of a challenge. Yeah. And I hope that at the end of the day, I know that profits from the film, I mean, I'm sure that Philip will explain what they're doing for Alzheimer's. Will you explain to them?
Yeah, because is it something like 10%? Or?
Yes, we're doing a fundraising to try to crowdfund as well, and we're actually giving 10% of any of the donations to Alzheimer's dementia, and also we've pledged 10% of the profit of the film when it's finished and sold to also go to Alzheimer's and dementia, because it's just something that. What we didn't realise when we started this is there's so many people involved in the cast who actually have family members. Jerry Anderson, his mother is just being diagnosed with Alzheimer's. There's other cast members who are dealing with it as well. And again, for me, it's life's experiences. I mean, I was based at Compton Abbas Airfield for quite a while, where I used to write. And while I was at Compton, I used to fly with a transgender pilot. So for me, I've got these experiences of being with these people, and then doing the care work and looking after the Alzheimer's and dementia patients. You realise there's moments, even though these people, the families are losing these people, there's moments that just bring tears to your eyes, and there's moments that then make you laugh, and it's just incredible. I think
that's where the passion comes from, the writing, and why both myself and Melvyn think it's such a good film, because it has come from passion and actually real life. A real life.
Well, let's talk about that next. We'll talk about maybe I don't know whether the right word is the inspiration for it, but certainly some of the experiences that you've drawn on. Melvyn, I'll be interested to get your views as well on because there's a lot of intergenerational different attitudes and changing. So we'll talk to Melvyn about that as well. But and anything else that you want to ask as well, and also how you can get involved, because there's a financial part to this as well. Nothing is ever as easy as, we've got some money for that. So more from Melvyn, Philip and Peter in a moment. It's BBC Radio Solent. Hello, good morning. It is the Sacha Twining Show. This amazing film that they are hoping, or should we be a bit more positive?
Absolutely.
They are filming.
We are
filming on the Isle of Wight. Right. So the two voices there you've got in the studio here in Southampton, Philip and Peter, Philip Moore and Peter Hepplthwaite. And in our studio on the Isle of Wight, lead actor Melvyn Hayes. Melvyn, thank you again for joining us this morning.
Wonderful.
And
love the music.
It's good. I'm glad you like that.
I just said exactly the same.
Peter in the studio to go, I love that track. Yes, I like that. Do you want to pick anything else?
I'd just go down the musical line.
Yeah. Okay. So this is, if you are just joining us, the film that we are talking about, This Is Me. The film basically has, it tackles everything from dementia, sexuality, social attitudes and different generations, and death and loss. An incredible film that you guys are trying to raise money for. Before we talk about that, is there sort of partly a real story behind this, or based on a real story?
The characters, yes. I mean, like I said, I worked caring for a while and having to look after Alzheimer's and dementia patients, and you learn things. There's a scene in, without giving too much away, where I looked after this old lady called Carol Davies, and she would, I'll tell you, it upsets me really to think about it, but her funeral was the other day, and she used to dance around the front room with me to Andre Rieu.
Oh my goodness!
And it was one of the moments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry.
And no, don't apologise. But it is, it is the thing with anyone who is living with dementia. They'll know there will be moments of utter clarity, or moments where it is like having that person. Back again.
And there's other moments that are just so joyful.
Yeah.
That they will do something that will just make you burst into fits of laughter. And one of the ones I talked to Peter and Melvyn about was the Winnie the Pooh. And I sat Carol on the toilet, and she looked at me and she goes, "So where is he then?" And I said, "Where's who?" And she goes, "Winnie the Pooh. You told me we were going to see Winnie the Pooh." And I said, no. I said, "Do you want a wee or a poo?"
There'll be moments that anybody looking after anyone who is...
I was going to say, other carers will know of these moments, and I think that's what's so special, is being able to bring them out and let people know. Because especially for family members, I think a lot of people feel that they've just lost the person that was there. And as Melvyn was saying about his brother, you do lose these people in the end. But what's nice is at least us as carers, we can bring across that there's moments there that they remember things, that they enjoy things, and they're actually still having a quality of life, I suppose.
Yeah, and definitely in the film, all of this is brought to the fore in a background that is very of today. It is the transgender background. There's a strip club in it. It's very much brought to the fore of today's society, and how people with dementia and older people in general get left behind and not thought about.
Of course,
in a way.
It's not only the old that dementia
absolutely.
is actually coming a lot earlier. People, earlier in life getting it now.
Yeah, I mean, Melvyn, if I could also bring you in here. I mean, the different generational attitudes that I imagine that we were saying earlier how complex your character is, and this whole film is. If I say it's a minefield of different things, that makes it sound very negative, and I don't mean it like that. But it's just so many different facets to the whole way that we live our lives now with people who lived a life in a very, very different way.
Well,
before.
Things have changed so much. I mean, for example, in the 70s, I did It Ain't Our Fault, Mum. Now, although it's been shown around the world, you can't see it in England in the British Isles for some reason. And yet, there are so many things on television that if my mother and father were alive today, they wouldn't be able to believe what they're watching. And the thing about this film, I think, is it's so real. If we can get away with certain things which I've never seen on film before, I don't know whether anybody's listening out there, but if we're filming this on the Isle of Wight, we're going to need some extras, aren't we?
Oh, of course we are, yes.
OK, right, that's a good place to put a pause in this, because I've got the latest travel news now. We've got weather as well, and then Melvyn's mentioned extras. One of you two I know is going to mention money. So we'll get on to the important stuff of what is needed, Melvyn, how you can get involved, and also the cash as well in a moment.
BBC Radio Solent
Travel.
OK, latest travel news. Aaron Phillips, how's it looking?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. If you're heading north on the M3, still looking a bit slow around 13 for Chandler's Ford. Now, the accident, it's all on the hard shoulder, all lanes are open, but it's still causing some queues back down towards the M27. Still no fuel available westbound M27 at Rownham Services. Looking a bit slow heading up from Gosport towards Fareham, that's on the A32. And if you're heading through Wareham North Causeway, that's the B3075, still closed due to that 2-vehicle accident. That's affecting traffic between Wareham and Northport. Now through Weymouth, Coast Road is partially blocked. There's a broken down lorry just near Fleet Lane near the Chickerell Camp. That's causing some slow traffic at the moment. The M27 though, A31 through the Forest Coping fine, and there's no delays locally on trains. I'll have more for you in half an hour.
Call the BBC Radio Solent travel hotline.
0808 100 3900.
More from Melvyn Hayes, Philip Moore and Peter Hepplthwaite in just a moment, talking about the new film This Is Me being shot on the Isle of Wight. And hello, good morning. It is the Sasha Twining Show. We're talking about brand new film to be filmed or is being filmed on the Isle of Wight. A film that tackles just about everything you could imagine. Living with dementia, sexuality, social attitudes to sexuality, different generations, and ultimately bereavement as well. It stars the actor Melvyn Hayes, who joins us this morning from our studio on the Isle of Wight. And in the studio with me here in Southampton, director Peter Hepplthwaite, director, and then writer and producer Philip Moore. The three of you together, and you're next going to see each other. When are you next working on this again? Is it next week?
Yes, Thursday over to the Isle of Wight again, yes.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Now, I'm going to... Peter, can I talk to you about directing this? Have you ever directed on the Isle of Wight before?
No.
So what did you think of the Isle of Wight when you sort of were taken around and shown locations?
All I've seen is pictures of the locations at the moment of the Isle of Wight. I will see it live on Thursday, so that will be my first trip to ever go to the Isle of Wight.
Why was it the Isle of Wight that you chose then?
Well, mainly, I mean, obviously Melvyn lives there.
It's you, Melvyn.
Ideal for Melvyn.
I'm very lucky.
But it's a beautiful place. It's the pictures that the guys have brought back and sort of show me of where we need to film and different options for locations. And there's some fantastic looks there, some alleyways and the right look of shops and very small streets. It's just stunning for the film and the genre in which we want to film it.
Tell me about what you've worked on before.
Okay, well, as an actor, I've pretty much done everything from Les Mis, Miss Saigon, Sunset Boulevard in the West End. I was in the West End for about 8 years, but I've had a TV career. I am probably best known for playing Jed in The Green Green Grass, which is a spin-off of Only Fools and Horses. So I spent 5 years with Marlene and Boise, which was lovely. So I've come through my acting career, and I still am out there acting. However, directing was something that always interested me, so sort of 2-3 years ago I decided to start directing plays more than being in them, and often I would take the option to direct it rather than be in it, and so then that transpired that I own a drama school in Hertfordshire, and we have a very big TV and film section there, so it just transpired that I started to direct the film.
Now, obviously, Melvyn is listening in at this stage, but what is it like, sort of knowing that you're going to be working with somebody like himself?
Well, it's exciting for me. I mean, Melvyn for me is an actor's actor, and as a director directing him, I cannot wait to work with him because I just know that I'll get everything I want on film, and he'll understand what I'm asking him to give, and hopefully he will help me to help him in a way, so that we get the right pictures and the right... And like I said, I'm very, very adamant about the fact that Melvyn is playing a woman. He is not making out he's playing a woman. He is actually being a woman. And, and if we don't go down that route, it'll be a farce. And we can't do that, so that's why I'm really, really looking forward to working with him.
I think you almost need, as Melvyn keeps saying, actually, this is not Gloria.
Absolutely not.
You almost need that line across posters and things.
It's not Gloria. He's so well known for being Gloria, but Gloria was a man acting like a woman.
Just different.
But this is a man being a woman.
Yeah.
Actually being a woman. You go for a change, you are actually a woman.
I was going to say, if you've ever met a transgender, you realise that they've had the operation because inside they are that person.
Can I ask you then, and Melvyn, maybe you can answer this as well. Why didn't you choose a woman?
Because
I didn't. Oh, sorry.
No. Well,
I bow.
Yeah. You're being yes. It was suggested that you answer this, Melvyn. But there will be people who say, okay, well, she's a woman. She's, yes, okay, born, in a male body, but is a woman. So why not pick a woman?
From my point of view as the writer, I think because of Melvyn's role as Gloria on the fact was people have seen him do this, comedy character, and it's almost a panto character, but for me, Melvyn, being a man, is just the perfect person to bring it across, because I think if you'd used a woman to do the role, I don't think we would have got it across in the same way.
It's not the story.
No.
The story is a man becoming a woman, and Melvyn can start from the beginning, and as an actor become a woman during that process that it takes to build the film. And let's face it, we're dealing with some very, very delicate topics here, and it sounds like a mixed bunch, death, Alzheimer's.
You've got the lot.
But I honestly, the thing that brought me to the script, when it was first sort of pitched to me by Philip, he said, it's exactly the same as you've been saying today. The topics that it hits, and I thought that's a mishmash of stuff, but it's beautifully put together. And I read it, and I read it, and I read it, and I thought this just goes beautifully together.
And obviously,
it complements every topic.
It got Melvyn interested as well.
Absolutely,
and Melvyn, literally filming on your doorstep. Is that quite nice to be able to do that?
That's wonderful. I'd just like to quote Laurence Olivier when he said to Dustin Hoffman, when they were filming together, "You don't do it. You act it, so I won't be having an operation for this film. I promise you. Everything's going to remain in place, and I'm going to act it."
Peter, cancel that surgeon.
Yeah, I will.
And I'd like to thank Peter for calling me an actor's actor, because the last time that was said was in 1980. They did "This Is Your Life" on me, and everyone would said Melvyn Hayes is not only a people's actor, he's an actor's actor, and that's the greatest compliment. So thank you so much.
Bless you,
appreciate
sir.
that.
Thank you.
But in between records, while we've been talking, Melvyn, they are sort of sitting here saying, "I can't believe it's such an amazing honour to work with you." So
yes,
I think the three of you and the rest of the cast as well. This is going to be a joy to put together, even though such a complex and demanding story. Melvyn, you mentioned extras. You guys have mentioned money. Because this is not an easy thing to finance, because this isn't sort of the Hollywood typical, rom-com or anything like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but have you noticed when you watched films on the television at the moment? In the old days, it used to be produced by one name, just one person.
That's
produced by. Now, if you look on the screen, you see produced by Joe Bloggs, with a film by Fred Smith, and the names go on and on, the producers. All it means is those people have put money into the film, because nowadays it's so difficult to get films off the ground. So many wonderful ideas out there, but the lack of money stops them being made. So that's why we hope that, I don't know how we can do it, but let's...
I've just come from directing a new film, and literally we have 7 executive producers that put money into building that film.
Just a way of getting all the money together. So how are you going to do it for this one?
Well, we've actually gone really tight, haven't we? We can make this film for 50,000, which, in the terms of making a film...
Melvyn, you're not getting a big fee out of this then.
It's all for the love, isn't it? No.
And
he's gone very quiet.
I'm just leaving the studio.
Yes, I'm on my way as well, Phil.
Sorry, I've only just broken this news to them.
So you are all doing this. I mean, not obviously exclusively just for the love of it, but this is a real. This is a a piece that you feel very strongly about, and therefore are doing it as a. Well, as Melvyn said earlier, this is something that is totally different, and something that, as he says at his time in life, this is,
and we're going to give everything, everybody who, because there's a number of actors we've got involved who are putting their time in for nothing, and we're going to make sure that when it's done, everybody gets a share of the profits. We're offering people to invest in it, so they can actually come in as an investor as well as giving donations. So hopefully we can scrape it together.
So there's always a website for these sort of things that will get it all together.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that definitely something that Melvyn has touched on, which is the extra side of things. People pay to be an extra in films all the time now, and if it's if somebody's willing to give £100, we'll make sure they're in the film. And I think that's a lovely thing to do. It means that they help the film. They get they'll get a credit for that, and they'll be on film. And there's lots of people that.
Peter, how will they apply for this?
Well, I think we're going to be setting that up very, very soon. So over the next day or so.
Yeah, we've got a Just Giving page.
We have, yeah.
So this is the crowdfunding page that you've put together.
Page,
okay. So and that is, if you go onto the website, it's very well known because a lot of charities and small charities use this when people raising funds for whatever. So the Just Giving website, if you go into the search bar at the top of the Just Giving website, the thing to put in is film This Is Me.
Yeah, that's it.
Which maybe sounds quite a little bit complicated, but film This Is Me, and that actually gets you straight to the crowdfunding website.
And I've got a website which is www.philippelmore.com. That's also got a button on it that people can donate to. We've got a Facebook page which is Film This Is Me as well. So
which is the way to do if you want to be an extra,
Brilliant.
Go to the Facebook page.
Facebook page,
and actually message Phil directly and say I would like to be an extra, and I'm happy to pay £100.
Tell you what we'll do. We will tweet your Facebook page. So if you follow us on Twitter at BBC Radio Solent, we'll send the link of the Facebook page if you want to be involved in that, and then that has all the details on it. Melvyn, I have to say I'm really looking forward to seeing this and to hear to hear you talk about such passion as to why you decided you wanted to do this. I mean, what a great thing to decide that why not, just do it. Great.
Yeah, and we're honoured.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
We are.
I'm looking forward to it.
And the date that you're hoping to get this out by?
We're doing the filming in May, and then we're doing the main filming at the end of the summer in September.
Fantastic. When hopefully, Melvyn, we can sort some nice weather on the Isle of Wight. So that'll be good.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Melvyn, it's been lovely to have you on the programme this morning. Thank you very much. And Peter and Philip in the studio, the very best of luck with your project.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sasha.
Thank you
to the three of you. And again, if you go and follow us on Twitter at BBC Radio Solent, we will tweet out the details of the Facebook page so you can find out more about it. And hopefully get involved as well.